So, we are continuing with Christmas carols as a kind of a fun way to ease ourselves out of 2023. There are wonderful hidden treasures in our Christmas carols. And today the focus is not on the birth of the Christ within us, but on the realization that after that we still have work to do, that we have inner growth to accomplish. Now, I know I have failed, but I try never to say soul growth, because your soul is perfect. It doesn't need to grow. Your soul is perfect. It's your consciousness that needs to grow. And it's like a flower that is blossoming. You have to have a mature plant to have it blossom. And in Unity, they use the beautiful phrase, your unfoldment, as you're learning from lifetime to lifetime, more and more wisdom. So the song about Good King Wenceslas, it was written by John Mason Neal, who was an Anglican priest, so he was English. Now, Wenceslas was a Catholic saint who was also the Duke of Bohemia, which today is the Czech Republic. And he lived way back in 907 to 935. So why would this Anglican priest be writing a song about a saint that nobody ever heard of, who lived, like 700 or 800 years ago, before his time? Well, even though Wenceslas is not a name that we hear every day, for the Bohemians and for the people in the Czech Republic, he is like Abraham Lincoln is to us, and was revered in that part of the world and in England. His mother was a pagan. And you may say, well, how could that be? Well, it turns out that the Roman Empire never included Bohemia. I've told you a gazillion times that it was Constantine who made the Holy Roman Empire Catholic. But that didn't affect the Bohemians because they weren't part of the Roman Empire. So there was still a very strong element of pagans in that time. So his mother, Wenceslas' mother, was actually a pagan. But in order to marry the Duke, his father, she converted and was baptized on the day of her wedding, which I think, I didn't read this, but I'm assuming that it was kind of what you might call a shotgun baptism. If you want to marry the Duke, you got to be baptized. And she put it off to the last second. But basically, his whole family, his extended family, was divided between pagans and Christians. And the pagans were not burdened by any of this thou shalt not kill stuff. They were okay with killing off relatives in order to gain power. And he actually came to the throne only after there were several murders of his relatives. And once he came to the throne, he came very young, and it was a dukedom. He wasn't considered a king at that time. It was a dukedom. He was a very saintly person, and he is renowned for going out in the snow barefoot with a page in order to give alms to the poor. He would go from church to church like a pilgrimage, and give alms to the poor. And he was known by the people, by the common people. He was beloved and known as their father. They loved him. But the pagan side of his family murdered him. And so he is considered a martyr. And then after his death, he was posthumously declared to be king, in recognition of what a wonderful person he was. His statue still stands in Prague of him on a horse. And there's kind of a folk prophecy that in the hour of greatest need, when the Czech Republic is at its extreme, in dire need, that statue will come to life, and Saint Wenceslaus will slay the enemy. So it's still very dear to the hearts of the people in that part of the world. So it's about charitable giving. This particular hymn is especially about charitable giving. And I guess you probably can't read that, I don't know. It's a quote I ran into. You can give without loving, but you cannot love without giving. So there is a certain amount of, at Christmas time, there is a certain amount of giving without loving. It happens. It happens. And so I found also on the internet some thoughts about gift giving, just to help you put it in a little bit better perspective. That a gift, that to give, if you have a gift to give, that means you have people to give to. There are people who are so alone, they have nobody to give to. So every gift that you give means that there's some kind of relationship there that you can cherish. And it is the relationship that is the gift. Number 2, don't let gifts take center stage. We need to concentrate on the other aspects of the holiday season. The celebration, the togetherness, and the warmth that we feel with our loved ones and friends. And remember that the worst gifts make the best memories. I mean, we've all gotten gifts that were like, what? You know, like the husband who gives his wife a vacuum cleaner. I mean, go figure, you know. But the family will never forget that. You know, every Christmas they're going to say, remember the year he gave Grandma a vacuum cleaner, and she threw it in the trash. And of course, we don't want to compete with gift giving. When we're preparing our gifts, we're not thinking about, well, this set of grandparents is going to try to give more gifts to the grandkids than the other set, or more expensive gifts. That should not be part of our consideration. And also, a good or bad gift does not signify a good or bad relationship. Once in a while, you're going to give a gift with the best intentions, and it's going to be a flop. And once in a while, you're going to receive a gift that is a flop. But never relate the quality of the gift or the appropriateness of the gift to the relationship. It's given in love. Just accept that it's given in love, because that is the real gift. And in some instances, whenever we can, it's a better idea to give a memory. Last year, I sent my half-sister in California I think it was cookies, but it came in a box that when she opened the box, an explosion of, I don't know, butterflies, I think, came out. You know. So every year she now is apprehensive about opening whatever I send her. Sometimes I will warn her in advance and say, don't worry, nothing will explode. But that creates a memory for us. This year, because I didn't want to put up the big giant tree that Tim and I always had, got rid of that. And I bought a very nice ceramic tree about this big. And I sent her a picture of it after I displayed it. But my motive in doing that was I wanted to see if she had one. And she responded, and she said, that's cute. I don't have any kind of a tree. I just put up my Christmas cards. So now, you see, now I know she doesn't have one. So I sent her a duplicate. So now we have sister trees. And, you know, she was happy. So, and I'm assuming, I'm hoping that every Christmas when she puts up that tree, she'll remember, this is exactly the same tree that Nancy has. We have the same tree. And I like this next one. When in doubt about what to give, when in doubt about what to give food or drink. Or something else that's consumable. I had one friend who was kind of crafty, and by crafty I mean she did crafts. I don't do crafts. I like to watch Martha Stewart, but there's something about watching Martha Stewart that's just very calming. You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever watched Martha Stewart? Whatever she does, everything just flows, and she's just like, now we're just going to cut 105 of these little snips, and it's always very calming. But I would never do that. So, but if you are into it, decorating Christmas tree ornaments, say and putting the year on it, or something else that is unique to you and your relationship with that person. And then that Christmas tree will be used every year. So that's an idea. I have a friend who is one of my old nun pals from back in the day, and she is now in a contemplative order in Iowa. And there's only, I think, 6 nuns in the convent. But you have to remember that when you give something to a nun, she doesn't necessarily keep it. She has to consider the vow of poverty, and everything is shared. So I sent a big basket of not fruit, but candied fruit and nuts, rather than something just for her. So you just have to, but consumables are almost always a hit. In my case, chocolate, thank you very much. Just letting you know. Turn your gift into an experience. If you can say, instead of a wrapped present, I'm going to take you to see Napoleon, or I'm going to take you to see the latest Avatar movie, or whatever is current. Or take them somewhere else, tickets to something fun. Now, many of us find ourselves in the situation where there's a gift exchange, that everybody buys a gift, and you don't know who it's going to go to. Just all the gifts go in a pile, and then they're distributed randomly. You don't know if it's going to be a male or a female, or who's going to get it. Again, that's an excellent time for a neutral or consumable gift. We did that once at an office where I worked, and the most popular gift, the one that they really got excited over, and this is so easy, lottery tickets. That was the favorite gift of all the gifts that everybody got, was lottery tickets, a consumable gift. Okay, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Just to take a photograph of you and the person you're giving that you have, of maybe an old memory, maybe even back when you were children or very young, and to put that with a card, it makes a very nice gift. And give what you enjoy giving. In other words, I just told you I'm not crafty. I'm not giving anybody a Christmas ornament, decorated Christmas ornament, because that's just not my thing. I am wordy. I'm far more likely to give you something that I wrote. We had one friend, one of Tim's friends, she was the lady that introduced us. One year for Christmas, she sent a poem that she had written that she put in a frame about how precious that friendship was to her. So she gave the gift of words. Give what you enjoy giving. Have a broader definition of gifts. You know, there's a book out called The 5 Love Languages. And the basis of the book is that different people express and also want to receive different kinds of appreciation. Some people do want gifts. And to that person, you can't go wrong by giving them just a gift. But some people want words of appreciation. Some people want help. They want you to offer to do something for them, offer to run an errand, or to help them in some way. So if you know the person well enough, you will know what kind of gift will be meaningful to them, and you keep that in mind. And give better gifts to kids. This was kind of a reminder that I thought two aspects of this were helpful. If times are lean and the children are not going to get as many presents this year as they have in the past, just tell them in advance. Let them know that, however you want to put it, but let them know in advance so that they're not expecting that many presents again. And another thing is that you should teach them the joy of giving, either by encouraging them to save their allowance and put so much aside so that they will have Christmas money to spend, or you can give them money or take them shopping. Say, we're going to go to Dollar Tree and you can spend $20 so that you can buy gifts for however many people the child is going to buy for. But it's important to give them the joy of giving at an early age. And I like this one, the inexpensive gift-giving challenge. With this one, you put a very low cap on the amount. You have an agreement within your family or an agreement within your workplace that whatever gift you give, it won't be more than $5. So that will challenge you to think, and you should give people plenty of warning on this so that they have time to think, well, what can I do or give for $5? And there again, lottery tickets would be perfect. But something handmade or something funny or something that is like a family heirloom that doesn't, is not going to cost more than $5. And in every situation, we want to remember that the gift we are giving is the gift of love. If you're not feeling love when you give the gift, then that's spoiling the Christmas season for you, isn't it? We need to think about the love. And even if you find yourself giving a gift to somebody that you just don't have those warm, fuzzy feelings, nevertheless, that relationship is in your life for a purpose. And if you have issues with someone in your life, then that's a growth opportunity. And you can give to that person, as Jesus said, pray for those who persecute you, and turn the other cheek. All of this is for our growth. So you can give knowing that you are working on peace of mind in your heart. And the next song that we sang is We Three Kings. Now, one of the first important things about We Three Kings is that it was written by an American. John Henry Hopkins was an Episcopalian minister, I think in Massachusetts or one of those New England states, in 1857, and he was an American. And this is the oldest hymn that is still popular today that was written in America. So he started the ball rolling of all the wonderful Christmas songs that have been written by Americans that we enjoy. Think of I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus, and Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. All these wonderful songs that Americans have written for Christmas. So, We Three Kings of Orient. Now, when I hear Orient, I think China, Japan, Korea. That's what I think of as Orient. But that is not what the people in Jesus' time would have thought of as Orient. So in the book of Matthew, when it says that the wise men came from the east, it doesn't give you a country in Matthew. However, there are Old Testament, what have been interpreted as prophecies about the Redeemer who was to come being honored. And so in Isaiah and in Psalms, it talks about, I have it for you. I get carried away and I forget I have notes. Okay, the event is recorded in the Gospel of Matthew, and there are no details given in the New Testament with regards to the names of these wise men or the number of the wise men, and even whether or not they were royal. Matthew doesn't call them kings. There are, however, verses in the Old Testament that were believed to foretell these visitors. And in Isaiah it is written, "The wealth of the nations will come to you, a multitude." I don't really get this, but apparently at that time this would have been a big deal. "A multitude of camels will cover you, the young camels of Midian and Ephah." So here's Midian, and Palestine is north of that. It is right by what today is the Gulf of Arabia. And Ephah is approximately the same place. So that, and it goes further to say, all those from Sheba will come. So they think that that was nobody really knows where Sheba was. We know, but the queen of Sheba visited King Solomon, but what country the Bible is referring to, what area of the world, they don't really know, but they think maybe it was Yemen. They will bring gold and frankincense and will bear good news of the praises of the Lord. And then in another section of the Psalms, they pluck these things from different places out of the Hebrew scriptures. The kings of Tarshish and the isles shall pay tribute. Well, that would have been, Tarshish was in Spain, and that is not east of Palestine. And scholars think that it may possibly have been an island in the Mediterranean or Spain. They're not really sure. But the bottom line is, all we know is that there was more than one wise man and coming from some foreign country. That's really all we know. So moving along to the star that pointed the way for the wise men to find Jesus was in the east. The east symbolizes our inner conviction of our divine sonship. Because the sun rises in the east, that is considered to be pointing the way for our conviction of our divine sonship. This is developed in some people so strongly that they actually see it reflected in the atmosphere and believe that a destiny is theirs that cannot be defeated so long as this star is in its ascendancy. You know, some people just they seem to be born with a certain confidence. And I just don't remember if it was Thoreau or Rousseau or one of those Enlightenment philosophers. He was a little boy, and somebody said to him, just as they do today, when you're trying to strike up a conversation with a little kid, you say, "What are you going to be when you grow up?" And he said, "I shall be I." I mean, that kind of inner knowing, that kind of wisdom is a spark that is in some people. That I remember Yasser Arafat told the story of that when he was a young boy, he was in danger of drowning. I don't remember the circumstances. Anyway, he was in the water and he was in danger of drowning. And he thought to him, he says, "I was just a little kid and I thought to myself, oh no, now the world will be denied Yasser Arafat." So when Fillmore talks about some people just having this inner confidence, this star is that they can follow. It wasn't my case, but it does happen. So the accumulated wisdom and experiences of the soul are the wise men from the east, and they rejoice when this faith in one's destiny to do the will of God begins to rise within, and all the riches of wise experience, such as gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, are bestowed on your inner Christ child. Hence, the gifts represent, this is important, the subconscious reserve forces of the organism that enter into and form the new body, and its mere speck of light is your star in the east. So metaphysically, the wise men from the east represent the stored up resources of the soul, which rise to the surface when the depths are stirred by a great spiritual revelation. They are the inner realms of consciousness that, like books of life, have kept the records of past lives and held them in reserve for the great day when the soul would be ready to receive them. I know that people who are especially interested in their past lives want to know what they did in these past lives. There are all kinds of books and seminars you can take on finding out about your past lives. But it is not the reason you don't remember them is that the facts of your past life are not what you need. It's the wisdom that you gained, that you need, that carries forward. The gory details would just be a distraction. So these wise men represent the wisdom that is carried within the soul from previous incarnations. The east represents the within, man's inner consciousness. They bring gifts to the Christ child, the inner resources of spirit, which are open to the Christ mind. The gold represents the riches of spirit. The frankincense represents the beauty of spirit. And the myrrh represents the eternity of spirit. So finally, the star that the wise men see represents intuition. The wise men were guided by intuition. Stars represent the subjective and not fully understood guiding lights. So, putting together these two ideas, I compose this affirmation. What do you think? I am an expression of divine love and divine wisdom, and every gift I give is a perfect gift of love. Okay? Let's say it together. I am an expression of divine love and divine wisdom, and every gift I give is a perfect gift of love. Amen. So be it, and so it is.